Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. Snow is expected to blanket 18 states from Wyoming to New York today and tomorrow. Michael Kastner has more.
Forecasters say 2 back-to-back storms will spread at least 3 inches of snow. The second part of the storm will dump more snow on parts of the Midwest, Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic. Up to 6 inches of snow could pile up in some areas, with over a foot of snow possible in the higher elevations.
A Justice Department report says the 2022 Uvalde, Texas school shooting could have been stopped sooner.
They had plenty of warning and plenty of knowledge that there were dying children, wounded children in those classrooms who had been shot by that gunman.
Legal correspondent Ken Delanian reports the DOJ released a nearly 600-page report Thursday detailing the response to the shooting that killed 21 and injured 17 others. The DOJ said the response to the May 24, 2022 mass casualty incident at Robb Elementary School was a failure. The shooter was stopped 77 minutes after he first walked into the school. Attorney General Merrick Garland traveled to Uvalde ahead of the report's release, spending time visiting the families of victims and 21 memorial murals honoring each person killed in the shooting. Families of American hostages being held by Hamas are set to meet with White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan Thursday. That's according to CNN. Several of the families are in Washington, D.C. this week around the 100-day mark since the hostages were taken after Hamas's attacks on Israel October 7th. John Poland, the father of an American citizen held hostage, said 103 days is too many and time is running out. A new poll shows just over half of Americans were thriving in 2023. A Gallup survey found that over 52% of Americans evaluated their lives positively enough last year to be thriving, according to the poll. That's a decline from previous years where between 52 and 55% of Americans were shown to be thriving. The only years that the amount of thriving Americans was lower was during the Great Recession between 2008 and in 2020 during the onset of the pandemic. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
Southwestern Motors in San Bernardino thanks our troops and veterans for everything they've done so fearlessly for us. Send letters and packages from home and offer a veteran a discount on your local product or service. It will be greatly appreciated. This message courtesy of Southwestern Motors at 791 North Mount Vernon in San Bernardino. Known for quality, integrity, and knowledgeable service since 1957. Call 909-889-9539. Southwestern Motor, on the air because they care.
Hi, I'm food critic Alan Borgen, and I'm excited to tell you about Ray's Shanghai Bistro in Redlands. Ray's Shanghai Bistro offers the largest and most delicious array of traditional and original Chinese dishes available in the Inland Empire. Some of my favorite dishes are the house-made pot stickers, the crisp pork spare ribs with garlic, their unique spicy lamb with bamboo, the sweet and tangy deep-fried orange peel beef, and the savory basil spicy shrimp, plus lots of vegetarian dishes. Whether you dine in, pick up the food, or have them cater your next party or special occasions, you will see why Ray's, spelled R-U-I'-S, Shanghai Bistro, is truly the best Chinese restaurant in the Inland Empire.
Make sure to check out their new location at 405 West Stewart Avenue in Redlands, California, right across from the Sprouts grocery store. That's Ray's Shanghai Bistro. Zambrano Plumbing in Riverside would like to thank all the local men and women in our armed forces who risk their lives daily to preserve our freedom and way of life. God bless America. This reminder courtesy of Zambrano Plumbing in Riverside. They're the professionals serving the area with quality, integrity, and dependability. For service or an estimate, call Zambrano Plumbing at 909-772-9939.
What would you do if you had a broken bone? You'd go to the doctor and use your insurance, right? Well, what would you do if you have a serious problem with drugs and alcohol? Most people do nothing until it's way too late. Your insurance can help you get clean and sober with the assistance of a place like the Detox and Treatment Helpline. Many times, addiction treatment is fully covered. So why not use your insurance to treat your addiction problem just like you would if you had a broken bone? And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed to take time off by law, and your employer doesn't need to know the reason. So there are two good reasons. You've got insurance you can use for your addiction problem, and with the Family Medical Leave Act, It's completely confidential. Call now, 800-398-7414. That's 800-398-7414.
KCAA.
Oh, amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
Welcome back to me. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.3, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchasers, Spreaker, Streaker. Almost made it through this time. Jet lag aside, and everywhere, because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness, because this is a show about that. No gossip, no scandal, and no K words, no Kanye talk, formerly or now, at all, because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. That's why I have topics and guests, and the roster for this year is just as amazing. I just got a confirmation from Dee Wallace, who was the mom on E.T., Cujo. She's been everywhere. She is the number one actress as far as appearances on movie and film alive today. So she's coming up at the end of February, and I just go. We have 1,089 shows for you to choose from on my free subscribe YouTube channel. And we also have a special series. I'm so delighted to once again have in my studio my new co-host I don't know when I'm going to stop saying new, but he is my new co-host on Street Talk. His name is James Hawthorne. He's an actor, host, film festival co-founder, which is how I met him, and personal trainer. In other words, a true Angelino. He dates regularly and relationships occasionally. His East Coast roots are now intertwined with 13 years of LA living for a unique perspective on all things dating and relationships. Please welcome back to my show, James Hawthorne.
Hello,
Hola.
Great to see everybody.
Yes, great to be back from down under. We're going to launch into breakfast so I can tell you about it in the gratitudes, because all of it I'm very grateful for. And also, oh my goodness, Troy is ready for his gratitude already before I even said we're having breakfast. That is pretty impressive. Troy Pacelli, who has his own show, and I popped in on him when I was in Australia, shocked him. He'd had a couple of last call with Troy Pacelli happy hour, so it took him a little to react, but his people notified him, and I got a nice warm welcome on that show. And Orville Nation, his co-captain on, he's the best promoter I know, and he's a good friend. I met him when he put me on stage at the Carnegie Hall with my big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center. Welcome. If you are not listed right now, that means you have not free subscribed to my YouTube channel, which, thanks to Orville, we're celebrating well over 2,000 and 305,000 views. Thank you very much. That's after 610 consecutive weeks. But we like to start every show with breakfast. And what that means is we start with gratitude. And we don't talk about world events. You can get those negative things that are going on in the world everywhere else. The show, it balances that out with good things. So I'm exercising your ability to see what is good around you. So 8 things at the top of the bun, followed by 8 things you appreciate about yourself at the bottom of the bun, because James likes it on the bottom. Then we launch
speaking
into
of
the
new,
topic.
you're gonna have to come up with a new joke next week. You know that one's getting played.
Okay, you like it in the middle? I don't know. Like we're
Depends on the
talking
day.
about
You know, why be choosy?
But what are you grateful for, James? Actually, I'm going to start with Troy since he was ready with the button. He's grateful that the Dr. Marissa Pay show is back. My days have been all discombobulated, great word, in its absence. Thank you, Troy. I am grateful for my cashew gallery and all the people that I have met doing this show, which is amazing. I have to say I'm super grateful that while I was down under, do you realize that I am known over there? I had no idea halfway around the world. James, in New Zealand, I was walking, got lost to get to my bike tour through the city, and stopped a couple walking by and asked them how to get there. And they said, oh, the bridge is down. That's why I have to go around. Come with us. We'll show you the way. And introduced myself. And she stopped and looked at me and said, oh my God, I know you. Her life coach is the #1 life coach in New Zealand. I don't know who that is, but she follows me and told her to follow me because of my message and what I do. Is that forking amazing? So that's what I'm truly grateful for. Your turn.
Halfway around the world. I love it. I'm grateful for people that are different than me. I'm for all my friends and people that I love that are different than me, because they help me see, you know, other ways of thinking, being, doing things, and I think that is like a fast track to just making life better when you can learn from watching how other people approach the world and their lives.
True that. True that. I am grateful that I can multitask and put in your lower third on the screen. What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for my roommate, Chris. He's just the most loving, loyal guy in the world. And, you know, your home is part of your foundation. And it's wonderful to have him as part of my rock, you know?
Cool. I am grateful that I got to hold a baby Tasmanian devil in Australia, and you can get that footage on my social. If you go to Doc Balance on Instagram, you'll get that, or just go to drmarissa.life, my home, and hit social media, and you'll get to see that. Your turn.
I'm grateful for the fact that it's not snowing here in LA. The rest of the country's getting socked, and unless I am on a pair of skis, I ain't got time for that.
I didn't realize that. That's pretty cold instead of cool. I am grateful that I also got to watch the incredible fireworks, $6 million worth, off of the Harbour Bridge in Sydney, Australia, which is honestly the best fireworks I've ever seen in my life, over the epic Opera Center, Opera House, Sydney Opera House, and the Harbour Bridge, and going back and forth and being up close and center with 50,000 people. I waited from 1:30 in the afternoon until midnight fireworks to be able to get that close. So that was epic. First and last time I put my back out being herded with 50,000 people back into the metro. So that was something, but it was gorgeous. Again, it's on my social. You can watch it there. Last gratitude.
Oh, this is we're doing 4.
Oh, I've done at least 6.
Whoa.
Right?
Quite the
No,
gratitude. Hey,
yeah.
I'm grateful for the ability to be self-employed and do off-peak living, avoid all this traffic. I had to take someone to LAX this morning, and We left before rush hour. I was back and forth so fast, I was able to catch a few more Z's before jumping on the air with you. Still wearing my
Awesome.
jammy shirt here.
I was going to say, that's cute.
Well,
That's
thank you.
not a
Hotel Mount Everest. Reminds me to keep climbing higher.
very good. Did you climb it?
No, that's one thing
Oh,
where the juice might not be worth the squeeze. I've seen all the documentaries about everybody that got lost up there, frozen up there. Like I said about the snow, unless I got a pair of skis on me, I don't think I'm going up to Everest anytime soon.
yeah, I love that. The juice is not worth the squeeze. I'm borrowing that from you. Did you make that up?
No, but I heard it probably about 9 or 10 years ago, and
Oh,
I love it.
I've never heard that. So we're getting a little chatter in the cashew gallery on all the things that we've been talking about. Thank you, Troy. Definitely confirmation of being a beneficial presence on the planet. Let's go to the bottom of the button because I like it on the bottom. How's that? Uh, I specifically ask you what you appreciate in yourself because it is my BS belief system that a lot of the dis-ease with life is because we get knocked off by criticism or bothered by what people say about us because we're not really solid in knowing who we are and liking who we are, most importantly. 88% of the time, we are fabulous. 12% of the time, we're human and we make mistakes or missed takes, as I like to call it for the actors. But if we can understand that we are mostly good, I think that will keep us from reaching for a pill or a shot or a guy or a gal or a partner or gambling, anything to satisfy that feeling that you're not good enough. So that's why I have you exercise. What do you like about yourself? Because frankly, my dear, if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect anybody else to? So, James, what do you like about yourself?
Amen to that. Amen to that. I like that I don't embarrass easy because I had some friends in town. They love doing karaoke, and I had such a good time putting on a show for folks. It's so exhilarating when you just let it all hang out, and even if it's just lowly karaoke, it feels so good to just let it fly. And I had a really good time with the songs that I picked. My hips are still feeling it. My hips don't lie. I'm not shy.
Hip hip hooray, James. Um, it's interesting in Australia and Sydney, sorry, Australia and New Zealand, their karaoke is all private. They don't have the bars that you get up and sing in public. Everything's a private room, which is the more Asian way of doing it. So I am gearing for karaoke. In fact, I just got a postcard in Vegas, Ellis Island. I've done karaoke there, and they sent me a free night. So I'll be in karaoke February the 6th. If anybody wants to go, I get to go cover the United Natives NFL celebration before the Super Bowl. I got asked to invited to cover that. So if anybody is interested in supporting Natives, a little commercial here. I had Crystal, Dr. Crystal, on the show, who is not only affiliated with the United Nations, she is the founder and president of United Natives that's doing great work helping Native Americans. And I do also have to say that in Australia and New Zealand, they do a much better job honoring their original the natives to the land, the Maori in New Zealand, and all of the tribes in Australia. We have a lot to learn from them. So just a little kudos to Australia and New Zealand for that. Troy Pacelli, I appreciate my tenacity. Like a dog with a bone, I don't give up, though I could work on my attitude about it sometimes, like a dog with a bone. Thank you, Troy, for that. James, what else do you like about yourself?
Not until you tell me your go-to karaoke song.
Oh, if I should, I forgot the word already. It was jet lag. Na, 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 na. So I go, but I know I will think of you every step of the way. And for the rest, you're gonna have to come to karaoke.
You leave them wanting. I like that. I love to see you hit those Whitney notes. That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I did it in Catalina Island, uh, covering the Catalina Jazz Festival. After the performance, I went to man, this jet lag. Anyways, the bartender who turned out to be the bar manager, who turned out to be the manager of the best restaurant there, ran out the next day to tell me that he hears a lot of renditions of Whitney, and by far my try attempt was the best. So he was like, I really wish my wife was there so I could have danced with her. It was so beautiful. It was so nice to hear that because, you know, I'm a retired lounge lizard. And I could have gone that route, and my dad got wind and tracked me down and said, you know, you're a good singer, but you're not that good. To get me to get my PhD. He said, you can always pick up music later. And he's right. And maybe that means now. So I've been playing with that idea. So we'll see. All right, your turn.
Some people might not like this about me, but I like it about me. I like my tangential mind. So when people are talking to me about anything, it inspires all these other related thoughts and creativity, and I just feel like it gives me like a richer experience of life, and a way to be a blabbermouth and keep conversations going forever. Hey, let's make the show 2 hours. Why not three? We'll really put it to the test next week.
Let's do it. And Troy also closed out his last show with that song. That's a what caught moment. What are the chances of that? And we got a copyright claim. So we will see how close my singing was to the pickup of that. So we'll see what happens. But that's it for Breakfast with Dr. Marissa and
James Hawthorne.
It is Straight Talk on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, 25 years strong, the station that leaves no listener behind. Thank you for joining us for breakfast. I challenge you to go and do 28 days worth of gratitude, taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich, and I promise your life will be completely different this year. Don't even have to do a resolution. Although, if you want to really have a great year, then join my 21-day fast from complaining, which we'll talk about a little later. That's it. I do love having breakfast on this show. It's a great way to practice what I teach. We're both smiling. I think everybody feels better now that we've talked about what we're grateful for. And, drum roll please, what is our topic today, James?
Today we are talking about the chase. And it really comes down to some people love to be pursued in dating relationships, more so dating. Other people, it's a big turnoff and they go running when they feel like they're being chased. So I'm interested in diving into what makes someone not like to be chased, what makes some people love to chase, and other people want to always be the one receiving. Where does that come from? And how do we navigate that? Maybe not miss out on a great partner just because they don't match our chase chemistry.
Great topic, especially since I actually turned Bumble on while I was traveling. I have to admit it. There were several days in there where I sold out of my books on tour, which
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And so I had a little time on my hands, and I turned on Bumble just to see who was nearby. I haven't used Bumble since 2012, so it's been a long time. And so my question that I'd love feedback on is, does a guy really like it when a woman is direct, which is part of the chase, and not really chased because she just says, let's meet. And was it you that I told about the Starbucks kiss test?
I don't think you did.
No, like I don't even want to waste my time through 2 hours of a dinner if there's no chemistry. And the only way you really know if there's chemistry is if you meet and your eyes lock, and then, even if your eyes lock and you feel something in your furnace, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily attracted to them until you smack them in the lips. And then you'll know if your toes curl that there is chemistry. So you know, I have been known to say, you want to take a chemistry test, let's meet at such and such a time, and not even have a coffee, and just plant one, and then see if there's chemistry. And if there isn't, nice to know you. I don't even waste time on coffee. Is that a turn on or a turn off? So that's my personal question for to chase or not to be chased.
I mean, I think nobody wants to like waste time. So I think, the chase is assume that, right, you're into that person's into you. Let's assume that chemistry is already cooking, right? For me, and I also think there's a difference between gay and straight relationships as well. So me as a gay man, a lot of people assume that I'm straight. And so I have to do a lot of the chasing because a lot of people don't come up and, talk to me that I would like to have talk to me. I mean, hey, I want to feel hot. I want them to come up and say hi, and be hit on. I would like that, but just by default of just, I guess, the way that I comport myself, the way I behave, I end up having to do most of the chasing, and I've come to accept that. But I think I would like to be hit on, but I don't think I'm somebody that likes to be overly chased. For some reason, for me, it's a turn off. And I don't know if that's maybe because I got to practice more of the things I like about myself or whatever. I'm like, why are you so into me? Like, just take it easy. Like, pump the brakes. Or if there's something magic that happens when you're not told that you're liked by this person, but it just develops in that beauty of the unsaid in between. I don't know what it is for me, but I'm used to chasing. I like to get hit on, but I don't particularly like to be chased. So I'll put my particulars on the table with that to kick it off.
And that was just got put on the table. There was a funny here from Orville. He said, "Chased or chased, James?" So we're starting the new year, and for those of you who assumed that James was not gay, which I did as well, and when I asked him to be my co-host, that was put on the table, and I had mentioned to him that I don't want to introduce you as my new co-host, and he's gay as part of the package for the co-host, and so I left it up to him to when it was comfortable or when he thought it was a time to reveal that, because I love the fact that now I have another viewpoint in relationships, which is a huge viewpoint, especially in California, to talk about the differences. So, on that vein, I will ask you how much of it is stereotyping that is really rumor or not true, and how much of it is a group difference, in your opinion, that if I go by what you just shared, there is, as I understand, a more feminine and a more masculine partner role, both with gay and lesbian, right? so that if we follow the traditional stereotypes, men chase women, women don't chase men unless it's Guy Hawkes Day, right? Sadie Hawkins. And so I don't know if you would. I heard there was like a lipstick is one of the terms for the more feminine in a lesbian relationship. I don't know if that's dated or not, but help me
Sure. Yeah. I
to
think with
understand.
I think that might actually be sort of a stereotype that we put onto LGBTQ folks because we're so used to constructing relationships in this masculine feminine dichotomy. You know, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and I mean, I know a lot of gay relationships where there doesn't really seem to be, you know, one who's more masculine or
Masculine.
feminine or caretaking. I think, you know, in gay relationships, it more has to do with personality. Some people, I think, maybe have more of a maternal instinct. They're caretakers, and I think that sometimes that I say maternal instinct, yet I almost look at that as being sort of the dominant role because you're more you have to be more mature when you're taking care of another, you know, person to a degree. So when I look at that in gay relationships, I feel like it more has to do with the facets of the personalities of the people involved in that relationship. Now that said, I mean, the stereotypes become stereotypes because there's some truth behind it, and there
Correct.
are, you know, some gay men that certainly seem to act more traditionally feminine or flamboyant. There are other gay men who are a lot more, you know, masculine in terms of their interests, their manner of speech, the way they comport themselves physically. But I just think that's one slice, you know, of the pie. And
Mhm.
I think that sometimes we put the stereotypes from straight relationships onto gay relationships just to try and make sense of it and understand it better. But I think my advice to best understand that is go out and find yourself some good gay friends and people that are in gay relationships, and you'll see such a you know, no pun intended, rainbow of different dynamics between partners. And some of the things do apply that you talked about, but there's
Yeah.
a lot of other nuances and intricacies that don't.
Yeah. Well, my personal experience with you is that you definitely embody both. You know, you have that caring quality about you. You're super nice. You're good looking in the traditional masculine, what I would be attracted to. So that's why I didn't know. And so you're a good example of the, you know, it's not one or the other. Like you're a combo plate, if
Which
I
is
can say.
confusing at times and apparently confusing to other people if I'm out and, you know, out and
Yeah.
about. I have to sometimes literally hit people over the head with it if I'm chasing somebody to bring it back to that because it's almost like they don't believe it, you know. And I'm like, no, really, I don't, you know, I know I might not fit the stairs. And that's even, you know, right, I'm hitting on another gay man and sometimes they're surprised and I'm like, oh brother, what do I have to do, you know? Because like I said, it's a nice compliment to get hit on, but it doesn't happen except for those that are bold. The ones that are bold and are willing to take a chance and take a shot. As am I. I've hit on a lot of straight guys, hoping that they were gay, and I guess I have good instincts, not in their sexual orientation, but I have good instincts in the quality of their personhood because a lot of them become like, you know, some of my best friends. You know, I guess I
Okay.
seek out the company of other, uh, you know, masculine straight, but you know, not necessarily because I feel like I'm just as, if not more, masculine than a lot of my straight friends. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the problem with stereotypes. On one hand, there is some truth, and on the other hand, it's dangerous to generalize or project based on that stereotype. Interesting comment here from Orville. Women don't chase men so much, but some are very good at dropping handkerchiefs. I usually tell my female clients that dropping handkerchiefs is a good way to open doors because most men don't get those subtle hints. Ah, okay. So I'm trying to think about the last time I dropped a handkerchief. So obviously you're being obtuse. It's not really dropping a handkerchief. So what are those things that I can do to be more subtle? And by your answer, you're also suggesting to me that direct maybe is not the best way to become to have a man interested in me, which, I have this argument every year with two people. I used to have Dr. Pat Allen on every single Valentine's, and her model is also as well as Dr. John Gray, by the way, who you mentioned, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. He'll be coming on again this year. And he is a friend of mine, and had a meal with his new wife, who's Chinese, and him and my daughter and I up in San Francisco last year. And they are both yelling at me, please don't be you at the beginning. Don't talk about what you do. Don't introduce yourself as Dr. Marissa. Don't, sort of tell them to Google you, which I always do. Don't be you until you have their interest stirred, and then sort of gently lay it on them so they're not intimidated. And I just chafe every single time because it's like, no, this is who I am. And if anyone is intimidated, then you're not for me. I want a guy who really knows who I am, respects who I am, thinks that I am the best thing since sliced bread or toast, and goes for me. And then what happens is, if I'm all talk and I do this, I admit it, right? Come, go, come, go. And then if they are really strong pursuers, I'm like, slow down, but I've led with that. So this is why I'm single.
So I'm going to challenge you a little bit on that, and I really love Orville's last point. I thought that was great. There's so much I want to say about that, but on what you just said, Marissa, you said I want them to see this is who I am. But my question to you is, maybe your friends meant let them get to know the part of you that isn't all of your professional success, because right is who you are what you do. I mean, we all know that it's not. It's a big part of who you are, but what about all that other stuff that makes you you? Maybe they're encouraging you to lead with that.
Let's see what the Cashew Gallery says about that. How's that for deflection? Troy Pacelli's wife of 31 years, I think, Netter. She'll tell you how bad I was with her subtle hints. Okay. So, Dr. Omega's here. Welcome to the show, Dr. Omega. I think he's Colorado. Or is that? Maybe that's Maria. But I thought it was the bend and snap ever since Legally Blonde came out.
Yeah, I believe that's got to be an Urban Dictionary somewhere. I think that the handkerchief drop has now been changed to the bend and snap. I agree. I have to agree with that.
What is the bend and snap?
It's basically a deadlift move. You just, if this is your waist, you bend over and then boom, and think about butt in the face, bam. So you give people a nice view of the caboose.
Really? Okay. I've lost on having relationships because she was being subtle and I didn't get it. Don't be subtle. Just say what you mean. Okay, he's supporting my authentic, this is me, take it or leave it. Direct can be a handkerchief thrown in the face. It can be okay. He's being funny. Starcast is another service that Orville Nation, streaming in from Portugal, unless he's in New York right now, PJ. So, okay, so I'm going to go back to your point now that I haven't had a chance to just digest it a bit. And yes, there is a softer, more sensitive, vulnerable side of me. Um, I'm not always, yeah, I'm not always thrilled with it because it's the one that gets its feelings hurt. And to me, I think I hate that expression. Um, and it is, it's a catch 22.
So you might not like that part of yourself, but what if you give that part of yourself grace and space to be present, not just in your own private moments, but in dating? You know, who knows what sort of men you might attract and what they might say they like best about you. They might like things about you that maybe you're not even a fan of, but that's what makes them hot for you, you know? I've found that out to be when people have told me certain things that they like about me in a relationship or dating. Those aren't things that I give much thought to whatsoever, and I'm surprised sometimes to hear the things they say that they like, because I don't consider
Like,
those defining
like,
characteristics or proud characteristics.
give me an example.
Oh boy, it's been a long time since I've actually been in a dating relationship.
I'm learning. I'm in here.
Yeah, give me a minute to think about it. I'm not deflecting. I will answer when I can think of the last one that really caught me off guard. Oh,
Yeah.
someone called me goofy once, and I realized that I really chafed at that, and I realize it's because I probably take myself too seriously. If people are charmed or endeared by my goofiness, then maybe I ought to get on board and start to like it too, and be grateful that I can be, silly instead of judging myself for it.
Good point. Good point. Well, I've embraced my sensitivity because it's highly correlated with creativity. So that I've been working on. But the whole chase business. Oh, forgot station ID. If you've just tuned in and you're wondering what's going on in studio today, I am back live. I am back in America. Happy to be home. Thank you for tuning in. It is Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show, and our very special Thursday series. Every weekday on Thursdays, you get to have some straight talk with Dr. Marissa and
James Hawthorne.
and we're here talking about to chase or not to chase. That is the question that we are analyzing, assessing, and personalizing. So if you have any comments on that or experiences, please do. Free subscribe on my YouTube channel or go to Facebook or LinkedIn and stream and chat away. And you'll have a great time there. We've got a very active cashew gallery today. Let's see. I would pay good money to go back in time and watch Netter's subtle fins fly over last call with Troy Bocelli's head. Yes. That should be the topic of your Friday show, Troy, to carry on.
The cashew gallery's sassy today. I like it. Giving each other a playfully good hard time. Subtleties popped up a lot in the cashew gallery notes versus just being direct and saying what you mean. And I'm about as subtle as a sledgehammer. And I could get a lot better at subtlety. I think maybe I am getting hit on and I'm missing it because I'm not picking up on the subtlety. Because in my pursuits, I'm not as subtle as I could be, but at least people know exactly where I'm coming from. Now, I got a friend who fully believes you can't let him know you're that interested because it makes him want. Now, he's a straight guy. He crushes it with the ladies. And he's like, no, you gotta make them chase back. Chase is like a mutual thing. So, you gotta kind of tease them a little bit, like literally tease them and get them all flustered and not let them know that you're crazy about him, even if you are. And he's so good at playing this game. And I think he's somebody that I think picks up on a lot more subtlety than I do and I can. So I think there's a whole nother dating world out there for me, if I can get better at mastering the art of subtlety. And I consider myself a good listener, but I think I just tend to communicate with so much oomph that I really could sharpen my subtlety skills.
You missed that one. I said what? But anyways, Your words have triggered a memory. Wasn't there a book out maybe a decade or two ago by some women, The Art of Flirting or something like that, or the Bible, or the guys wrote it? It's triggering something. But here's the deal: you're uh, um, being more subtle. Dr. Omega said, no, be direct. I am of the direct line as well, because what you're talking about to me sounds like games. And I hate the games that people play when it comes to that. You got to make them chase and don't respond to their text right away. And all of that is, I'll tell you, when that happens, as soon as that happens, they're out of there. And that's like 2 hours. It can be as quick as that. Because I hate playing games. I hate that. Like, if you want to spend time with me, tell me you want to spend time with me, right? If you want to go somewhere, say, I want to go somewhere. Then I'm going to be a hypocrite. When I did open Bumble, right? I'm there. I said on the thing, I'm here, book tour. I'm here for 2 weeks, and looking for someone who wants to take me to their favorite restaurant. And the responses I got were, let's go take a walk in the park at 10 at night. or what hotel are you at? And I'm like, there's a vast difference for me in those two things. And then one guy's like, oh, you're going to have to get your free dinner somewhere else. Okay. Which was, okay, I guess I deserve that. But I also, yes, I want my cake and eat it too. I want a guy who knows, I said to the one guy, who knows, if we, I want to do a chemistry test halfway around the world, knowing full well that I really didn't want to meet someone where I would have to do an 18-hour flight to see, right? So I'm just a hot mess. There you go. TMI.
Well, you know what? We have. I feel like we have so much in common on this topic, Marissa, but we have different ideas for how we are going to approach or move forward in our own lives with this idea of the chase. You basically quoted what I've said so many times about hating games, and it's just driving me nuts. But here's the funny thing about it. Those games work. I had a friend of mine, explain to me. I'm like, he's my best friend. He's the smartest person I know. He's gay. And I said, you are too smart for doing this. Why are you playing these games and screwing around and doing it? He's like, because it works. And he identified a time when I was talking to a guy, and he showed me exactly how that guy was making me crazy for him. And I'm like, that works. There is something psychological about having to chase back or work for it that can just make you really hot for that person. But if that's what gets you to the dinner table with mad feelings and things, and that's what sparks an incredible date, maybe an incredible second date, and maybe a relationship, even if we don't like it, right? Maybe it works and there's something to it just because of the way that we're wired. We always say one thing and do the other. We're subconscious creatures 90% of the time. So whatever we think we like, well, that's just a real small slice of the pie. And once he put that in my face and said, James, you're getting played right now, and look how you feel about this guy. And I'm like, God, you're totally right. So there's something to the game. I don't want to throw the whole thing out.
Yeah, no throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Dr. Omega, I would always tell friends who would complain about not being able to pick up a girl to stop being on the prowl. People pick up on that and it turns people off. Just have a conversation. Okay? Troy Patile, I'm so with you on that, Dr. Marissa. No games. I was too old for games when I was in my 20s. I have even less time for beating around the bush now. Orville Nation wants to see PUA streams, pickup artist. Okay, so uh, I'm trying to figure out one. I haven't opened Bumble since I've been here, and so I need some advice. Is it better if I am ready to play here? Is Bumble better or Tinder better?
I've heard
What
from
do you?
my friends that Bumble now it might be different for different age brackets and things, and I got a lot of younger friends because I like their spirit, more energy. Um, I've heard that Bumble's better than Tinder for straight folks.
Okay. Now, um, I have a problem, not a problem. I have an opportunity because when I put my age marker, right, for the older men, um, not attracted, like I swiped like 300 times no before I found one that picture was good. And then I did the video stream and I was not attracted to him in 3D. So, and I unfortunately place way too much on looks. That's I'm admitting that. So I have to also grapple with I hate the word cougar. I don't ever want to be seen as a cougar. There's nothing about that word that is attractive to me. I never want to be seen as the older woman. Um, what should I do about that?
Regarding age on your profile, I mean, I'm 38 years old, and I'm already, grappling with that on profiles because a lot of people can be initially closed-minded, I think, about that, and I'm more like, well, hey, if you like my profile, you like the way I look, let's just meet and go see. I mean, there's a reason most of my friends are, younger than me instead of older. It's an energy thing, and so I say the number doesn't necessarily matter. um, and it's my profile, damn it. So I'm going to control it. So I don't put my age on there unless they make you on a certain app. And if they ask me, I'll tell them the truth because I don't want to kick things off with lying. But I if it's really that important to them, they can ask me. That's what I think about it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We've got, it's interesting how some pickup artist coaches use some very basic human relationships strategies. Orville saying, be 30 years old in my head. Hashtag ageless. I see more people popping into the cashew gallery based on the eyeballs rolling in. Thank you for joining us. We are talking about to chase or be chased. That is the question here on Take My Advice. I'm not using a gift balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, KCAA. AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and if you free subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can not only listen, but see and chat with us as we are having a wonderful time with our cashew gallery today. So let's see. I know our counter's a little bit off. I think we have a little more time. Was there anything else you wanted to cover around the chase? I know I kind of put you on a tangent with my own stuff. Or if you have any advice to me as I turn on Bumble today, I think for the first time. Apparently, there's been a lot of buzz on my on my line. I got the email notification. But 6.5 minutes we have to go. Okay, good to know. Thank you for that. Thank you, Frank. I want to just thank all of my guys at KCAA. They are all men for the support, especially Frank in my back end studio, who, not that back end, but behind the scenes, he is my sound engineer. Thank you so much for the work that you do, Frank. Okay, I've got, let's see, ha ha. Once again, PJ, I thought she might come back as the Aussie Oprah. Ha ha ha. Cougar implies being on the prowl. If you're looking to hook up only, fine. But if you're looking to date, just be chill and enjoy meeting of a new person. No expectations set. Easy for you to say, Dr. Omega.
I want to let you off the hook, Barissa, on the overemphasis on or perceived overemphasis on looks. Look, let's be honest. We are sexual beings, and looks matter. You have to be attracted to the person you're thinking about entering into a relationship with physically. Otherwise, you should be seeking a friendship with that person, not a intimate relationship. So, I think sometimes we have to acknowledge the way that we are, and the fact that to a degree, like, we are mostly subconscious creatures. We are animals to a degree. Just because we can have this, conscious mind and can do better, I think we have to acknowledge our sexual nature when looking for intimate relationship partners.
Thank you for that, James. Although I have been told again that I lead with my testosterone and I am more masculine in the way that I look at men to date is I look with my eyes, and most women, a gender difference, not stereotype, uh, look with their ears or listen to more so than see. So again, either I be okay with the dominant male parts of me that have been really tantamount to a lot of my success because I live with very little fear, with very little need for safety or being kept or being, what's that word, cherished instead of respected. I would say I value respect more than cherish. So that's the issue. Either I accept that part of me and not worry about the fact that I'm doing it, or I, as you mentioned, flip it and begin to become more comfortable with the other parts of myself that I have not allowed people to see necessarily. That's my
Authenticity, I think authenticity is almost always, the right answer. I say almost because you have to have sometimes a filter on not just your words but your behavior, right? So as to get along with everybody. But authenticity, I think, is almost always the right answer in terms of your manner of chasing or being chased. But that said, sometimes I look at who we are as it's not black or white. It's like a mixing board, and it's dials. And sometimes you can turn certain dials up, turn other dials down. And it doesn't mean you're being inauthentic. It means something in you recognizes that maybe your current dynamic isn't really meshing or clicking with the person across from you. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to hit it off and make it work. So sometimes you can push certain dials up and push other dials down. And I don't think that's being inauthentic. I think it just speaks the fact that very little is actually black and white. Almost everything's gray.
You could be flirty, but if you set your expectation that you're getting lucky tonight, people read that desperation expectation, it tends to turn them off, in my experience. Yeah, that's the thing is that when I put that in the my profile for Australia, I wasn't looking to get, I really wanted a little romance instead of getting forked. But it looks like we're coming up against the final word. Thank you for that, James. Love, love, love the dial thing. I'm going to work with that and see if I can't experiment and show other sides of myself and see what happens. Thursdays, you'll get a report about how things are going as I turn on Bumble today. This ought to be an interesting series. Following that, as well as when you start dating again, we'll just ride this together into the sunset. James and I will, and thank you for being witnesses to this little journey. Final word.
Yes, food for thought for folks this week. If I'll be very fast, if you are somebody
Yeah.
who does not like being chased, Marissa and I are both kind of like this, right? We have that in common. If that's you, ask yourself, do I not like being chased because I don't feel worthy of it? So going back to the beginning of our chat with what we like about ourselves, let that be something that we think about and explore and fill up if it's getting empty. Being
Wonderful.
worth it.
Thank you, James. It's all about balance, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Good day, mates, and go and have the best day ever. Thank you, James. We'll see you tomorrow with Tempting Conversations with Alon Carter.
Goodbye, everybody.
KCAA Loma Linda, celebrating our 25th anniversary. Sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932. Protecting the future of working families, Teamsters1932.org.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. Snow is expected to blanket 18 states from Wyoming to New York today and tomorrow. Michael Kastner has more.
Forecasters say 2 back-to-back storms will spread at least 3 inches of snow. The second part of the storm will dump more snow on parts of the Midwest, Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic. Up to 6 inches of snow could pile up in some areas, with over a foot of snow possible in the higher elevations.
A Justice Department report says the 2022 Uvalde, Texas school shooting could have been stopped sooner.
They had plenty of warning and plenty of knowledge that there were dying children, wounded children in those classrooms who had been shot by that gunman.
Legal correspondent Ken Delanian reports the DOJ released a nearly 600-page report Thursday detailing the response to the shooting that killed 21 and injured 17 others. The DOJ said the response to the May 24, 2022 mass casualty incident at Robb Elementary School was a failure. The shooter was stopped 77 minutes after he first walked into the school. Attorney General Merrick Garland traveled to Uvalde ahead of the report's release, spending time visiting the families of victims and 21 memorial murals honoring each person killed in the shooting. Families of American hostages being held by Hamas are set to meet with White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan Thursday. That's according to CNN. Several of the families are in Washington, D.C. this week around the 100-day mark since the hostages were taken after Hamas's attacks on Israel October 7th. John Poland, the father of an American citizen held hostage, said 103 days is too many and time is running out. A new poll shows just over half of Americans were thriving in 2023. A Gallup survey found that over 52% of Americans evaluated their lives positively enough last year to be thriving, according to the poll. That's a decline from previous years where between 52 and 55% of Americans were shown to be thriving. The only years that the amount of thriving Americans was lower was during the Great Recession between 2008 and in 2020 during the onset of the pandemic. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
It's a bird!
It's a plane!
No, it's Super Roth! Okay, a gimmicky opening for a commercial about Super Roth Universal Life Insurance, but I'm sure it got your attention. Now, what is a Super Roth, you ask? It's a permanent indexed universal life insurance that's totally liquid and easily accessible once it matures. Can be used to supplement retirement savings or a death benefit, or both. Has no income or contribution limit. Has no 5-year rule like Roth IRAs. Has no 10% penalty for accessing the funds before age 59 and a half. Oh, and the average historical returns are 5 to 7% annually, tax-free. Super Roths also lock in gains, which means you don't lose your money when the market is down. Sounds incredible, right? Sounds super? Super Roths are the way of the future, specifically your future. To see if you qualify for a Super Roth, go online to thesuperroth.com.
For over a century, AM radio has evolved to meet the needs of our community. More than 80 million listeners depend on AM radio each month. It's also the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe in dangerous times. A new bill in Congress would ensure this free, reliable service remains in cars. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to support the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Redlands Ranch Market is a unique full-service international grocery store that specializes in authentic food items from Mexico, India, and from many Mediterranean and Asian countries, including popular items from the U.S. They offer fresh-baked items from their in-house bakery, house-made tortillas from their tortilleria, a delicious array of prepared Mexican foods, a terrific fresh fruit and juice bar, and a large selection of meats, seafoods, and deli sandwiches, salads, and halal meats. Their produce department is stocked full with fresh, local, and hard-to-find international fruits and vegetables that you cannot find anywhere else. Don't forget to stop into the massive Beer Cave and experience the largest selection of domestic, artisan, and imported beers in the IE. They can also cater your next event with one of their delicious takeout catering trays of food. Visit them at redlandsranchmarket.com. That's redlandsranchmarket.com. Redlands Ranch Market, a unique and fun shopping destination.
Poseidon Valley Tree Service reminds listeners that during these trying times, blood supply levels are critically low, making blood donations essential. Take the time to donate blood today. Visit redcross.org to find a location near you or call 1-800-RED-CROSS and schedule your donation today. This reminder courtesy of Poseidon Valley Tree Service, proudly serving the area with their full range of tree service for over 15 years. For tree trimming and service, mulch installation, and more, call 909-855-0264. That's 909-855-0264. Or visit treeservicelakearrowhead.com. That's Poseidon Valley Tree Service, on the air because they care. Southwestern Motors in San Bernardino thanks our troops and veterans for everything they've done so fearlessly for us. Send letters and packages from home and offer a veteran a discount on your local product or service. It will be greatly appreciated. This message courtesy of Southwestern Motors at 791 North Mount Vernon in San Bernardino. Known for quality, integrity, and knowledgeable service since 1957. Call 909-889-9539. Southwestern Motor, on the air because they care.
You're listening to the Tahibo Tea Club radio show, hosted by Milan Vukovic, founder of the Tahibo Tea Club.
Welcome to the Tahibo Tea Club radio hour. My name is Milan Vukovic. I'm the founder of the Tahibo Tea Club.
I'd like to tell you a little bit about the proper preparation directions for Tahibo tea to be effective. Even though we call it tea, what we actually make when we prepare it properly is a decoction. And a decoction is just a fancy word for what our forefathers used to do when they took a root and cooked it in order to release its beneficial properties. It's easy, but you don't steep it in hot water like regular leaf tea, but rather cook it like spaghetti. I'll tell you how easy it is to make so you don't think you'll need to get a degree in physics, but you don't have to remember any of this, of course, because the directions are on all the packaging, printed on the packages, as well as in the literature that we automatically include with every order. So you take a pot of water, bring it to a boil. Once the water is boiling, you toss in 1 tablespoon of tea for every 2 cups of boiling water. Cook it on high for 5 minutes. Reduce the heat and cook on simmer for an additional 15 minutes. Now, since our tea comes from the only tree in the world the fungus doesn't grow on, you can make a big batch, say 10 or 20 cups at a time. Leave it in the pot on the stove, and it'll stay good for 4 days without refrigeration. Put it in the fridge, and it'll stay good for 8 days with refrigeration. And you can drink it hot, room temperature, cold, or ice. The tea has a mild, pleasant flavor, kind of halfway between Lipton tea and green tea, but a little bit sweeter than either one of those. Our tea tastes so good that 95% of our customers drink it straight without adding anything to it. Even teenagers drink it straight. So you know it must taste pretty good. You can, however, add anything you want to the tea and cook it with the tea. So you can take any old fruit that you have on hand, an apple, a peach, a pear, a mango, slice it up and cook it with the tea. Or blueberries, crush them up and cook them, or cinnamon or ginger or whatever. There's a guy in Louisiana, he calls to tell me he's putting in a cayenne pepper and Lord knows what else. I told him he had to promise to send me that recipe because not everyone is going to want to have their tea taste like crawfish, but someone's going to say, oh my God, I can do that. You can also add something like lemon after you prepare it. And about the only thing we don't recommend adding to it is sugar. Not because then it has any contraindications with our tea, but because sugar feeds virtually everything bad in our body, from fungus to diabetes to cancer. Although most adults drink our tea without adding anything to it, an 8-year, for example, has not acquired a taste for any kind of tea, so cooking it up with blueberries to make super tea for the 8-year-old is especially useful, and it tastes great. Since Tahibo tea has no contraindications with any medications, it can be taken on an empty stomach, a full stomach, with medicine, without medicine, with therapy, without therapy, and it also has no caffeine, so you can literally drink it all day, all night. And if you drink 8 glasses a day of the tea, you can, drink it instead of water. In my family, everyone, from my 24-year-old son to my 90-year-old dad, drinks the tea all day instead of water. I just drink water myself 3-4 times a week when I get tired of drinking a tea. Now, in terms of our packaging and shipping, all of our packaging is in 1-pound packages. And a 1-pound package is $49.95, and it makes 300 8-ounce cups or glasses of tea. So that's about the equivalent of 16 cents a glass to make. So if you're drinking 6 glasses a day, that's 96 cents a day. I don't care what economic bracket somebody's in the United States. They can afford 96 cents a day to at least give themselves an opportunity for success. Good morning, listener. You're live on the air with Milan Vukovic. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, hi, Milan. I've called before and I've talked to you about toe fungus and soaking it in soaker. And I've been doing that, but then I have since gotten a sore on the side of my foot, and it turned into an open sore. So I was wondering if it was still good to do that.
It certainly is. As a matter of fact, I got a call from, there's a clinic in South Central Los Angeles, which is a really rough part of town, that uses our tea. And so one day I got a call from the doctor that heads the clinic, and he says, we get a lot of homeless people in here, and they're all cut up and bruised up and this and that, whatever the case is, and we use your tea on 80% of the people that come in. He says, we take the tea